High in the mountains of northern China, there is a building that looks like it should not exist. Imagine standing in a quiet valley when your eyes catch something clinging to the side of a sheer cliff. A temple, painted in red and gold, hanging dozens of meters above the ground. At first you think it must be some kind of illusion, but then you realize it's real. And not only is it real, it has been hanging there for over 1,500 years. The locals call it Xuankong Si. The world knows it as the Hanging Temple. And the question is, why hasn't it fallen? To understand the miracle of this temple, we have to travel back in time. The year is 491 AD. The Northern Wei dynasty rules this part of China. Buddhism is spreading. Taoism and Confucianism are shaping daily life. And somewhere in the mountains of Shanxi Province, a group of builders make a decision that seems almost insane. Instead of building a temple on the ground like everyone else, they choose a vertical cliff face. Why? Perhaps to show that the divine is not bound to earth. Perhaps to escape danger. Or perhaps because visionaries throughout history always do the impossible. The technique they used was as daring as the idea itself. First, they carved deep holes into the cliff. Into those holes, they hammered in massive wooden beams. These beams, hidden inside the rock, became the invisible skeleton of the temple. Then, wooden holes, bridges, and corridors were assembled around them, connecting chamber to chamber, like a spider's web suspended in midair. From below, it looks like thin stilts are holding everything up. But the real secret lies inside the mountain, where the human eye cannot see. So why here? Why hang a temple in the air when the ground is so much easier? There are 3 reasons, and each one makes sense in its own strange way. The first is protection. A temple on the ground can be looted, burned, destroyed by enemies. But a temple hanging far above the valley is far harder to reach. The second is climate. The cliff itself creates a roof. Heavy rains cannot strike directly. The burning sun cannot scorch the wood. Even snow and wind are softened. Nature itself protects the temple. And the third is symbolism. The Hanging Temple is not just Buddhist. It is one of the few places in the world that unites Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism under one roof. 3 traditions that shaped China for centuries, balanced in one fragile-looking but enduring structure, hanging between heaven and earth. Step inside, and you immediately feel the weight of history. Wooden floors creak beneath your feet. Narrow corridors hug the cliff, sometimes so close to the edge that your heart beats faster with every step. In the halls, statues of Buddha, Laozi, and Confucius look down at you, their calm faces almost whispering across the centuries. The temple contains more than 40 halls and pavilions, all connected by staircases and walkways. And everywhere you look, there is the drop, the reminder that just beyond the wooden railing lies nothing but air and a 75-meter fall to the valley below. But here's the hook. Despite its fragile appearance, the Hanging Temple has survived earthquakes, storms, and dynasties rising and falling. How? Some experts believe the position of the temple is key. Built into a sunken niche of the cliff, it is shielded from the worst winds and rains. Others point to the strength of the mountain itself, which acts as both anchor and protector. And then there is maintenance. Over the centuries, workers and monks carefully repaired, reinforced, and rebuilt parts of the temple, keeping it alive through time. Think about what this means. For 1,500 years, countless generations have risked their lives to preserve this wonder. Each repair, each replacement beam, each restored hall is a testimony of faith and determination. The Hanging Temple is not just a building. It is a dialogue between humans and nature, between earth and sky, between risk and survival. And perhaps that is why the temple fascinates us so much today. Because it is more than wood and stone. It is a story about daring to build where no one else would, about holding on when gravity says you should fall, about harmony between different traditions in a world that often prefers division. When you stand inside the temple and look down at the valley below, with only a few wooden planks separating you from the abyss, you can feel all of that at once. Awe, fear, and a strange peace. So why hasn't this temple fallen? Maybe the technical answer is strong beams, hidden supports, and careful placement. But maybe the deeper answer is something else. Maybe it hasn't fallen because it represents the human spirit, the part of us that refuses to give in, that reaches upward even when the ground feels safer, that believes in wonders hidden in the most impossible places. And that's the mystery of the Hanging Temple. A building that still clings to the cliffs of Shanxi 1500 years later, daring gravity, daring time, and daring us to believe.